You'll be wondering where we've been. I'm going to explain everything in just... So we haven't made a video for quite some time, and you're probably all wondering where have they been and why they're not making any videos, or why have they gone quiet and all that sort of stuff. So I'm about to explain a few things that have happened in the past few weeks. So basically, since I last published my Wales video, which was Easter bank holiday weekend, as you saw from the video, if you haven't, I'll just leave it up here. I went to Wales, had a great weekend. On the Saturday when I was in Wales at that weekend, did like a 6-7 hour hike up at the mountain called Cadair Idris. No issues whatsoever. Came back down on the Sunday, as you always get, a little bit of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness in the legs. No issues. Monday, no issues. Tuesday, no issues, back at work. Wednesday, woke up, couldn't move my leg, my left knee. Couldn't bend it, couldn't straighten it, and I was in so much pain. Which then created a cycle of events which kind of shocked me in a way, made me realise a lot of things. So I have, past context, I have had 4 operations on my left knee during my military service. 2 medial meniscus, the cartilage, repaired, and then 2 ACL reconstructions, both on the same knee. So you've got a bit of a background history. There is, you know, the knee is not perfect, it is weaker than it used to be, and so on and so on. But I've never had any major issues since the last operation, which is 20 odd years ago. Anyway, so wake up that Wednesday in quite a lot of pain. Literally then I continue to go to work. I wear a knee support and all that sort of stuff. I stay at Mule that following weekend thinking that it will just wear off. It didn't wear off. I decided to then jump the following week in an Uber taxi to take me to A&E in Barnsley. Also bearing in mind that I used to be ex-forces, and when you kind of leave the forces, you get a veterans card, and you're kind of told that you're entitled to priority treatment by being an armed forces veteran. So anyway, take myself to A&E, get to there, check in and all that sort of stuff. I am limping, I can't drive, I can't bend the knee or anything like that. I then show my armed forces veteran card, which I get replied back to, doesn't mean anything to us. Anyway, carry on. I finally get seen by a doctor because I'm not registered with a GP in Barnsley. My GP is in Birmingham from when I was a kid. They saw me and they said, well, you need to go back to your GP in order to get a scan, MRI scan, x-ray and all that sort of stuff. Here's a prescription, but in order to get the prescription, you've got to go back to your GP. I was a little bit shocked by that. Bearing in mind, I couldn't really drive. So on the Friday, I finished work. I then had to drive to Birmingham. Bear in mind, I couldn't really bend the knee, but I had to. And because it's my left leg as well, it's my clutch foot. So I had to constantly use my leg to change gear and all that sort of stuff. So I drove to Birmingham after speaking to my mum, who then said to me there was an emergency treatment centre in Birmingham that allows walk-ins. And my mum was going to take me there. So I get to Birmingham, I finish work early, drive all the way back to Birmingham, 2.5 hours, in pain, get to my mum's, go to the emergency treatment centre, not interested. Book an appointment if you want to get seen. Showed them my army veterans card, not interested one little bit, doesn't mean anything to them. So again, I was a little bit shocked by that. So then mum drives me to my GP. Bearing in mind, I've never really used the NHS during my 30 years in the military. I then find out that in order to see a GP, I've got to book an appointment online using an app that I had no idea about. In order to register on the app that they sent me via text, I needed to submit my passport and a utility bill. I tried to explain that, one, my passport's expired, so I don't have one, and I live in a van and don't have a fixed address, so I don't have a utility bill. To which I was replied, no idea. So I couldn't register on the app, couldn't book a GP appointment. I then said, well, what can I do about my prescription? I was then asked if have you registered with a pharmacist, which I said no. Well, in order to get a prescription, you've got to be registered these days. So they then had to find me a pharmacy, register it. I went back on the Saturday to collect it. I didn't realise that you had to pay in this day and age for prescription medicine. I had no form of payment, so I then went back to Barnsley on the Sunday to drive back, and this was now 2 weeks after the injury. Still got no painkillers, pain relief or anything like that. Still haven't seen a GP, and still had no idea of which way to go. So then I spoke to Sean and that at Mule Vans and Kev, asked them where their GP surgery was. I rang them up, explained the situation, and a kind woman said, pop down now and we'll get you booked onto the system here. So I went down that evening, they booked me onto the system, they got me a rival medical the next morning, because I had to have that before I could then see a GP. So I had to go in the next morning, had my blood taken, my weight and all that sort of stuff, and still got no pain relief. Then they could book me a GP's appointment, which was a week later. So this then continued another week. By the time it had been now like 3 weeks and a bit, by the time I got to see a GP, I was seen by a very kind lady who prescribed me 2 weeks of pain relief and anti-inflammatory tablets, and then told me, here's a telephone number for the x-ray department and here's a telephone number for a musculoskeletal department. I have referred you to them, but if you want an appointment, you got to book it yourself. So I then went away, booked an x-ray, which was then 2 weeks from that time. So I had to wait another 2 weeks for the x-ray, and then the musculoskeletal appointment, which is a telephone appointment, not an actual physical appointment, was 4 weeks from that date. So I'm at the point now where, one, I've had to renew my prescription medicine and pay, because now I'm registered with a pharmacy in Barnsley and my doctors. I've been for my x-ray, which I've been told, which was Wednesday just gone, and I've been told that that'll be ready sometime next week at my Archie, fucking dog. That'll be ready next week to see my GP, and then still in 2 weeks time, on the 14th of June, I've got my musculoskeletal appointment, which is a telephone appointment. And I'm a bit pissed off about that, because obviously I've got past history of musculoskeletal injuries and operations and reconstructions on my left knee. I can clearly see that I'm in pain and all that sort of stuff. I'm not able to walk properly. I can't extend the leg fully without pain generating inside the knee and a pressure, and the bone around the joint is tender and sore, and I can't bend the knee back, like bending down, all that sort of stuff, because then pressure builds up with inside the knee and causes extreme pain. So my leg is kind of fixed in the position. I'm having to wear knee supports and a full leg support during work at the day, and I have to take a stomach tablet in the morning, which helps with ulcers and all that sort of stuff. I take that on an empty stomach, and then half hour later I'm allowed to have breakfast, and then I take an anti-inflammatory pain relief tablet in the morning. In the afternoon I take some glucosamine and zinc magnesium tablets in the afternoon, my lunch. Then early evening I'm allowed another anti-inflammatory pain relief, and then through the evening, as I go to bed, I'm allowed I've got codeine based pain relief tablets, because I have been having to sleep with a pillow between my legs in whatever direction I try to sleep in order to relieve the stress and pain upon the knee joint. So for the past few weeks, it's been not the greatest. It's one of those things, you get through it. I feel sorry for Archie, because for the first pretty much 4 or 5 weeks I wasn't able to get out and walk him, which I feel guilty about. There is literally an Audi right opposite Mule at where I work and been staying, and some days I've gone, right, I'll take him out for a walk, and I pretty much got to the top of Audi, 50 meters, and had to turn back. So I'm now at the point where I can take him for a walk. It's not a long walk and it's not a fast walk, but it's a long time for him for me to get out. I am able to drive because I can bend the knee to a certain point, allowing me to drive, so I've been going to campsites and stuff like that, and some other places where I can park up. Some days it hits me where literally by 4 o'clock when I finish work, I am just on the bed, ensuring that I get the pain relief into me as quickly as possible, and I can't move for the rest of the evening basically. So some days is like that, and some days is really good, like today has been really good. So we've been for a walk this morning, and long may it continue. So there's been a reason why we've been quite distant on YouTube and social media and not really been doing very much, and that is to solely concentrate on getting myself fit and healthy and back, and whatever is going to happen with this injury, I have no idea. So we'll see, and we'll keep you informed and all that sort of stuff. And again, I felt at the time that I didn't need to have to give anybody an explanation of what was going on in my life, especially YouTube and all that sort of stuff, but I just thought I would explain a few things to you and let you know. The biggest shock is having to use the NHS after being in the military most of my life, and the pain that you have to go through in order to use the NHS, which I just think is the NHS has been destroyed by the constant abuse of the government, which is a shame really. I'm shocked by that. As an armed forces veteran, it clearly states on the NHS website that if the injury is relating to your service, you are entitled to priority treatment. Yet when the injury is related to my service, yet when you ask anybody, no one gives a shit about a veteran or anything. So I've not really received any priority care because of my armed forces background of being a veteran. The veterans card that you get given, I've showed to people, no one's really interested, so that shocked me a hell of a lot, and just makes you realize sometimes, was your service worth it in the long run, if that's how the government and the people treat you. So yeah, bit of a shock. The one thing I can say is that since seeing the GP in Barnsley, the care that they've given to me, giving me prescription and renewing the prescription and offering me advice and all that sort of stuff has been second to none, which I appreciate that for. And the guys at Mule have been absolutely amazing in allowing me, because I'm not mobile as fast as I used to be, a bit of extra time to do things and doing stuff for me when knowing that I can't do it. So I appreciate everything they've done for me as well for that. So onwards, fingers crossed, and upwards from now on. We're back out walking slowly, back out on the road at weekends doing stuff. Can't really do much physical work on the van, which is what I'd hope to be doing at this time of year, but with small steps become big things, as they say. So we'll see, but that's what's been going on. I hope you're all going to continue to stick with us, for me and Archie, and we'll hopefully see you on a more exciting video in the future. But for now, stay safe. Speak to you soon.